Assalamualaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. Okay.
Thank you.
Your name means lion, small lion.
Yes, sir.
Why not a big lion? Or why not just lion?
Sir, first of all, it's because of Usaid and because of two nuktas under it. And second idea I believe is that maybe my mother wanted to keep me in control. That's why she didn't want me to a bigger lion.
Who was Richard the Lion-Hearted?
Sorry, sir, I have no idea.
You are from 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸.
Sir.
Who was 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸?
So the legend says that he is a person who used to sit near the railway station of the 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸. And there used to be a toba in which he used to gather water from the rain. And he used to serve water to the passing by passengers. That's why, to honor his legacy, the town was named 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸 and that person was 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸.
Apni Savari, what does that mean?
So Apni Savari is a startup. Basically, it is a ride-hailing service, just like Uber and Careem, which is currently working in the major cities.
You started this service?
No, sir. I co-founded that with my friend, but I left it and started working there as an employee in 2020.
Then why did you give it up?
Sir, because initially, my initial share was only 10%. And with time, I realized that I needed to focus on my CSS journey. So that's why I decided to give up that.
Is this your first attempt at CSS?
No, sir. That's my third attempt.
Third?
Yes.
What happened in the earlier two attempts?
So in the first attempt, I was too naive, I believe, to attempt it way early. I did not have proper guidance. And in the second one, I was not able to pass the essay.
What took you to 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸?
So there is a famous college by the name of 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸 Science College, 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸.
You went there specially?
Yes, sir. I went there for my interview.
You didn't find any college closer to home?
Initially, the idea was that I wanted to join a boarding school. But due to, in my school, I was not able, my parents thought that I was not ready to go there in my early phase. So that's why I decided to go there in my intermediate. And eventually, it became one of the most prominent features of my life as it taught me adaptability.
Long distance running.
Sir.
I don't know what that means.
So it means that I am aspiring for marathon, and the maximum distance so far which I have run is half marathon.
Why don't you write marathon runner? Simple.
Sir,
And self-explanatory. There is a city somewhere in the world called Marathon.
Sir.
Where is that city and why is it so named?
Sir, the legend says that around 30 kilometers away from the city of Athens, there used to be a beach city by the name of Marathon. And there the war happened between the Greeks and the first Persian king Darius I. And to honor when the Greeks won that war, to give back the information, a person by the name of Philippides ran back to the city of Athens. And to honor his legacy, that race was eventually named as Marathon.
Shabash. Badminton, your hobby.
Sir.
What is the height of the net?
So at post, it is 5 feet 1 inch, and at the center, it is 5 feet.
And the weight of the shuttlecock?
So usually it varies between 4.74 grams to 5.3 grams.
Itni variation hai usme.
So it's because of the different materials used. Because some manufacturers use the duck feathers and the other use the goose feathers.
Close to 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸, there are very famous temples. What are those?
It's a 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐸 temple. And so they are basically constructed in the year 650 to 700 AD. And it is basically Satgara. There are around 7 temples which are surrounding a pond. And that pond, legend says that Lord Shiva did not have proper relationship with his father-in-law. But on one incident, the father-in-law decided to host a feast, and he did not invite the Lord Shiva. But Parvati, who was the wife of the Lord Shiva, said that she wanted to go there. And when they went there, the father-in-law of Lord Shiva actually decided to disrespect the Lord Shiva. So to honor...
COP30 को follow किया आपने?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where was it held? And how many people participated in it?
Sir, it happened in Belém, Brazil, and according to some estimates, governmental as well as non-governmental, around 24,000 people participated.
Belém is a small city. How did they manage to accommodate 24,000 people? Although there was a little more than that. चलो 24 पे हम cap करते हैं. Where did they accommodate 24,000 representatives from all over the world?
So I'm not exactly sure about it.
What was the outcome of that conference?
Sir, initially they have decided that they are going to increase the loss and damage fund. Initially it was capped at $80 billion per annum by the year 2035. Now they have decided that that investment will be increased to $135 billion per annum till the year 2035. In addition to that, they have also said that they will put common but differentiated responsibility on other nations. But the main negative point of that was there was no explicit mention of the idea of phasing down coal and hydrocarbons.
In that, what was the role of, if any, the role of Saudi Arabia?
Sir, usually the reports suggest that Saudi Arabia is that country which has been lobbying against the idea of explicitly mentioning hydrocarbons and also using strictly the term phasing out.
Role उसका क्या था?
So they played as a role of a lobbyist.
Why did the United States decide to boycott the conference?
So first of all, President Donald Trump is of the idea that climate change is a myth. And that was manifested in his first tenure when he decided to get rid or put United States as a country out of the Paris Climate Accord. And as soon as he came in his second term, he immediately decided that United States will not stay part of the Paris Accord. So in order to the consistency of his policy, they decided that United States will not be taking part in it.
We had excellent relations with the Taliban starting in 1979. We created them, we trained them, we nurtured them. What went wrong? That the present generation of Talibans is not even on talking terms with you.
Sir, first of all, there is a historical reason. The reason is that Taliban, being the representative of the Afghan people, although explicitly they are not, they are of the opinion that they do not accept the border, Durand Line, as the international border.
But the Taliban won, let's call them Taliban won, those who ruled Afghanistan from 96 to 2001. They accepted this. Why did they not object to our fencing and the border or raise objections about this?
Sir, because at that time Pakistan was the first country to recognize them. So Pakistan had a significant leverage at that time. But if we explicitly said that they accepted Durand Line and international border, that's not the case. Sir, in addition to that, Taliban does not have the capability to get rid of the menace of terrorist organizations which are currently working in the Afghan state. So to honor their legacy and the part which those organizations, especially the TTP, has played, they have decided that they will not accept Pakistan's demand of pushing them out of their country. So in addition to that, they fear Taliban are also trying to pose as a nationalist leaders. And in that, they are trying to get the loyalties of the Afghan people. And sir, there is another reason, which is logistical reason. Taliban does not have the enough financial capability nor defensive capabilities to fight the menace of terrorism from inside their country. And to put overall pressure, they have decided to not cooperate with Pakistan.
Really? That's news for me. What is the Mehergarh civilization? Where is it?
So I'm unable to recall it right now.
Can you name the principal organs of the United Nations?
So General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, and I'm forgetting another one, and the sixth one was Trusteeship Council, which was...
How do you define youth bulge and what are some of the problems faced by the youth in Pakistan?
So the population which falls in the category of 15 to 29 years old, that is specifically referred to as youth bulge. And according to IMF's data, Pakistan has around 46% of that. And sir, if we specifically talk about the problems of youth, first one is unemployment followed by underemployment. So the second, in my opinion, they do not have proper access to education. Sir, third, mental health issues. And the fourth, in my opinion, abuse of drugs.
Public administration आपने पढ़ी है. What is meant by new public management कह लो?
So initially it was the idea given by Christopher Hood, and it talks about imitating the principles of private sector into the government sector. It talks about decentralization, it talks about privatization, and it tries to imitate the principles of performance evaluation reports directly into the scope of the public administration. So
What are civil society organizations and what role do they play in a democracy?
So civil society organizations fall in the category of non-state actors, and these are group of individuals or association who get together for a common cause and try to represent the opinion and voices of the people towards the government. And sir, in a vibrant democracy, they play the most important role. First of all, they try to raise the voices or opinions of the people in front of the government. They also try to keep the government in check, and they try to ensure that the development, whatever happens, it is inclusive in nature.
Tell me the names of the governors of all the provinces of Pakistan. Last question.
So for Punjab, it's Nawab Salim Haider Khan, and I'm unable to recall the rest of the names.
Who is the Prime Minister and who is the President of Azad Jammu and Kashmir?
Sorry, sir, I'm unable.
Thank you.
What does CCD stand for? What is its role? And what are allegations against it?
So CCD is a department which stands for Crime Control Department, and it was erected via ordinance in which 8 core crimes, 8 serious and organized crimes have been put under its ambit. These crimes are rape or the murder allegations. And so the recent allegation which has been raised against it is that they are committing extrajudicial killings. And according to some figures of the Dawn, so far 5,000 encounters have been happened.
Dawn News is your favorite newspaper also. Who are prominent writers who have been contributing in Dawn? Can you name a few?
So Mr. Zahid Hussain is one of them.
Zahid Hussain is one of them. Okay, yeah.
Miss Arifa Noor.
Okay.
Mr. Amir Rana, he writes about the security. Mr. Khurram Hussain, or few of those people, and Ma'am Maliha Lodi.
Any civil servant or PAS officer, the former DMG officer writing for the Dawn?
I do remember one person. He's passed the CSS examination in the year 2018, but I am unable to recall his name right.
There's a senior person also who has been contributing for that. Okay. What else? Toba Singh is your place of birth. A famous short story was written by one of our very prominent Urdu short story writers. Who was he?
So the story was written by Mr. Saadat Hussain Manto.
Hassan Manto,
sorry. And it describes the atrocities or specifically mental atrocities and mental trauma which was given by the independence movement.
Okay, Punjabi is also one of your subjects.
Sir.
Punjabi songs are quite popular, but not the Punjabi language. What are the reasons?
First of all, I believe that the specific genre of Punjabi music which is currently famous get its motivation from the hip-hop music. And that hip-hop music is actually the scion of the black music movement which started around 1995 by the Mr. Tupac. And so the idea is that why that music is famous is actually perfectly resonating with the Generation Z.
How about the classical music also? As far as Punjabi is concerned, Kofis sung by certain singers in Punjab have been quite popular. Shah Hussein's Kalam is very popular, and so on and so forth. Heer is very popular, and so on and so forth. annual celebrations taking place for 𝐏𝐨𝐬𝐤𝐿, taking place for barista. And music and singing definitely is there. But then, as far as language is concerned, we are nowhere.
So first of all, the idea is that why Punjabi is on the decline. Before that, sir, I would also like to mention that currently in Punjab, there are 74% people who directly speak Punjabi. And sir, decline reason is that first of all, Punjabi is not part of the education syllabus of Pakistan.
Why
specifically
has
Punjab.
it not become a part of language of instructions?
So one, there is historical reason. Lord Macaulay, when gave the education system of the subcontinent, he was of the opinion that local vernacular languages should not become part of the syllabus, rather the people of subcontinent should be taught in English.
Oh, okay, that was his opinion. How about the governments in Pakistan? When we became independent, Punjabi is the ancient language, is one of the languages which has a lot of literature. The mystic poetry is there only in Punjabi. Okay, why couldn't it become the language of instructions as far as Punjab is concerned?
So my understanding is that initially, because Pakistan was a new nation and too much focus initially was put on nation building. So to put more power in the idea of nation building, Urdu was promoted as a national language. And when Urdu was promoted as a national language, governments did not find enough time or resources to start emphasizing on putting Punjabi as the language of curriculum.
Okay. Public ad is also one of your subjects. Leader. What types are there? How many theories are there on leadership?
So one is traditional leadership, the other is charismatic leadership, and the third, according to my understanding, is motivational leadership.
Motivational leadership has not been characterized as such in that subject at all. But charismatic leadership is there, and there's another type which is called not charismatic.
So rational legal leadership.
No, not that.
Okay, sir, I will look into that.
Okay, that's wonderful. Decision making is one of the important topics as far as public ad is concerned, or management is concerned. Rationality. What factors are required for taking a rational decision?
So the concept of rationality in decision making was given by Herbert Simon. And Herbert Simon was of the opinion that making any decision in public administration, it does not have to be perfect in nature. Rather, it needs to be satisfying in nature. And sir, if we talk about what we need before making a decision, we need proper information, we need information of the circumstances, and we need information about the idea who that decision is actually going to impact. Once we have all of that information at our disposal, we are able to make a decision which is pragmatic in nature, not ideal in nature.
Generalizing things. Okay. What is bounded rationality?
Sir, it's the idea that you will not always have access to perfect information. You are always going to have information which is present currently at the moment. So you need to make decision within the available set of information, not wait for ideal information to become available.
Gaza and the role of UNO. Will you talk about that for a minute?
Sir, it started in 1947 when the United Kingdom actually gave the power to the UNO that you need to decide about making a state for both Palestinian Arabs as well as for the Jewish people. So in the year 1948, the state of Israel was made. And sir, in the following year, in the 1967, and following that, there was also created a commission, United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestinian people.
How about 2025? Gaza and UN. What do you say about that?
Sir, if we critically look at the circumstances, I think that United Nations has not been able to play its role as effectively as it should have. Currently, it has been providing relief and humanitarian efforts.
Where exactly United Nations and its bodies have failed exactly as far as Gaza is concerned?
Sir, the first opinion for the Gaza ceasefire, they were not able to bring in the ceasefire for the
What
2
else?
years. Sir, they were not able to push Israel to allow humanitarian aid, and they were International Court of Justice, although has declared him a criminal, but they have not been able to bring him under the umbrella of justice.
You don't like to talk about United Nations Security Council's resolutions also on Gaza.
Sir, okay, I was trying to mention that via ceasefire, but the idea is that as soon as the resolution for ceasefire was put, US has been consistently using its veto powers to go against the idea of ceasefire. In addition to that, in the current circumstances, idea of international stabilization has been put forward.
Okay, what is your final word on the role of UNO? Has it completely failed and got to be replaced with some other multinational organization or what?
So my understanding is that although United Nations has not been able to completely fulfill all of its tasks, but to simply say that it has been a failure, I think that's a very unfair understanding of the current scenarios. Yes, there has been failures of not strictly implementing the ceasefire, but at the same time, United Nations actually has been the one who is putting all of the nations together. It is the one who is raising voice against the ceasefire violations. It has been the one which is trying to go for humanitarian efforts. In addition to that, the current challenges being faced by the global world, such as the menace of climate change, the challenges of globalization.
Genocide in Gaza and UN couldn't do anything. Over to you.
You are from 𝐸𝐻𝐻.
No, ma'am, I am from 𝐸𝐻𝐻, but I went there for my studies.
Studies. Have you seen Rota's fort?
No, ma'am, I have not.
Aswan Dam?
No, sorry.
You heard about it?
No, I have not.
Salt Range?
Yes, I have been through it.
Okay. What is pink salt?
Actually, it's a salt which is extracted from the 𝐏𝐸𝐻𝐻 salt mine, and it has been mentioned that it has several medicine and health benefits. In addition to that, it also used for those people who have asthma problems.
What is the difference between nation and a state? And what is a nation state?
Miss, nation, people refer to nation or those ideas where people with common religion, common caste or common creed have a common bonding or unifying force. They refer to them as a nation. And state as an entity is the idea that when nations get together and they get to have a proper boundary, they get to have a sovereignty, that is referred to as the state. And if we amalgamated them, both of them together, then takes the idea of nation state.
So can you give me an example of nation and add an example of a state?
Miss, Kurds consider themselves a nation, but they don't have a state. And if we specifically talk about state, then Taiwan consider themselves a state, but they don't have a proper nation state.
What is meant by sovereignty?
Sovereignty is the supreme authority of the state. That's what Aristotle said. And miss, that's the idea that sovereignty is indivisible and its absoluteness within the society. It is the power to make laws, it is the power to implement laws, and it is the power to hold the whole law and order maintained in a country.
What is public service delivery?
Public service delivery, for example, a task has been assigned to a civil servant. To fulfill that task, that it fulfills the idea of inclusivity and complete the task of public service. That's, according to me, is public.
So difference between public service delivery and governance?
Governance means the overall mechanism of rules, procedures and regulations within which not only the government but its administrative side make laws, enforce laws and also evaluates them. Whereas public service delivery is actually the outcome of the idea of governance.
What is the difference between rigid constitution and flexible constitution? And what are the risks and challenges of both?
Rigid constitution is referred to as such a constitution in which it is very difficult to make any amendment in the constitution of that specific country. We have the example of Constitution of the United States, which is considered the most rigid constitution in the world. On the other side, flexible constitution is that on which amendment in the constitution of the country can easily be made by even a simple majority of that parliament. We have the example of United Kingdom's constitution.
Is it a written constitution?
No, it's unwritten in nature, but they can make any laws, whatever the parliament wishes. And if we talk about the pros and cons, the pros of rigid constitution are that it does not allow discretion to easily take place. It keeps the people in check. It keeps the authoritarian tendencies of leaders in check. On the other hand, if we talk about its cons, it is not very easy to change in according to the needs of that specific time. So that it's one of the cons. On the other hand, if we talk about the flexible constitutions, they can easily be changed. They are the reflection of that society's circumstances at that specific time. But its con is that it can become the victim of the political wishes of the political class at that specific time.
What is meant by ecological limits?
Basically, in essence, ma'am, it's the idea that, for example, I would like to explain that with an example, that if I am putting a water out of a, let's say, pond, and there is a specific capacity by which I can get the water out of that pond, until that point or it reaches its threshold where it is not available or suitable for use for the next generation or for the idea of next day. And that is also implemented in the idea of environmental science. And Earth Overshoot Day was in this year actually observed, if I'm not wrong, in the month of July. And some nations reached that point, specifically Qatar, they reached that point in the February of that year, whereas Pakistan reached that point in the September of that year.
What is meant by sustainability?
Sustainability is the idea that you need to use that resource in such a manner without compromising the ability of future generations to use it.
You said the same about ecological limits for future generations. So is it correlated, interrelated?
No, ma'am, they are not correlated, but they are manifest. Sustainability is actually to increase the threshold limit of the ecological limits.
How does Punjabi literature differ from Urdu literature in its theme and style?
Miss, initially Punjabi literature is too much focused on the Islamic side, because initially all of the poets of the Punjabi literature were mostly Sufi saints in nature, and they were influenced by the idea of Wahdatul Wujud. So we have tasawwuf, we have nearness to God, we have the idea of strictly following the idea of Shariat and Tariqat.
Heer Ranjha was about nearness to God. It was romance, tragedy, Sufism, mysticism, all sorts of poetry. Though Sufism was predominant, but you can't say that all this, it was written about Islamic theme. So what's the difference between both Urdu and...
Miss, Urdu poetry specifically in the later part is more progressive in nature. It talks about socialism, it talks about the exploitation of the capitalist system, and it also tries to narrate that socio-economic realities of that time. But post-independence, Punjabi literature also evolved, and poets like Ahmad Rahi and Munir Niazi and Dr. Fakir Muhammad Fakir also tried to bring Punjabi literature in accordance with the ethos of that specific era's Urdu literature.
Okay, one last question, not relevant to your subjects. Trump administration, present trade policy, what impact does it have on global trade?
Miss, first of all, it is going to create the global supply chain disruptions.
How and what?
Ma'am, I am coming to that. Mr. Trump has been going on the idea that you need to indigenize every industry. If I take the example of, for example, an iPhone, although designed in California, but its parts were made in China and it was being assembled in the India. But right now, it is going to disrupt the supply chains. How? Because right now, Apple will not be allowed to import parts from any of the other country. In addition to that, they would not have that enough capability to build that specific parts, specifically in the very close time range in the United States. That is going to be the first impact. And the second, although it is being said that it will be beneficial for the people of the America, but I believe that it is going to increase the inflation, because businesses at the end are always going to put the impact of the tariffs on the end user. And third, it is, I believe, going to isolate the United States in the global power rivalry, where United States is trying to isolate itself to protect its national interest. On the other hand, China has always been pursuing, and the other multilateral poles are trying to pursue the idea of again going towards a globalization.
Okay, thank you.
ओके दो तीन बातें मैं नोट की हैं जहां आपने काम करना। नंबर एक तो हैबिचुअल है, लगता है आप बेटा यू स्पीक टू लाउडली, अपना वॉल्यूम आपने कम करना है। ओके फिर साथ स्पीड भी आपकी काफ़ी है, उसको स्लो करना है, ये लाजमी है, बिकॉज इट बिकम्स इरिटेटिंग फॉर द ईयर्स इतना आप लाउड बोल रहे हो। इट शोज द एम्पल अमाउंट ऑफ एनर्जी दैट यू हैव इन यू, लेकिन पैनल के लिए थोड़ा ये मुश्किल में उनको डालता है। नॉलेज अबाउट पाकिस्तान and knowledge about your optional subjects is weak. गवर्नर्स के नाम आपको नहीं पता, एजे के पीएम का, प्राइम मिनिस्टर का और प्रेसिडेंट का नाम आपको नहीं पता, और भी कुछ सवाल पूछे मुल्क के मतलब जो आपने ड्रॉप किए। हैविंग सेड दैट, योर स्ट्रेंथ्स लाई इन योर इम्प्रेसिव पर्सनैलिटी, योर गुड बॉडी लैंग्वेज, you were mashallah very presentable. I saw excellent confidence in you, despite जो आपने नहीं जो आप दे पाए, आप अभी जो डिस्कस हुआ उसके बावजूद आपका एनर्जी लेवल या कॉन्फिडेंस में मुझे कोई डिप नज़र नहीं आया। यू रिमेन्ड वेरी वेल कंपोज्ड, स्टूड योर ग्राउंड, विच इज़ अ गुड थिंग। यू वर एबल टू टेक प्रेशर and withstand stress, ये सारी अच्छाइयाँ हैं। और जहाँ आपने जवाब दिए, you spoke with authority and conviction। और स्पेशली मुझे अच्छा लगा जब मैराथन पे, I never expected you would know about that incident and the place called Marathon। बालफोर डिक्लेरेशन पे बैकग्राउंड आपने अच्छा दिया मुझे, तो ये आपके स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट्स हैं। और इसी तरह और भी चीज़ें, इनको आप एक्सप्लॉइट कर सकते हो, लेकिन जो शॉर्ट कमिंग्स बताई हैं उस पर मेहनत करनी होगी। इफ़ यू आर एबल टू डू दैट, आई सी यू अमंग्स द टॉपर्स इन द इंटरव्यू। ओके, जो सारे ये 50 मिनट की गुफ्तगू का जो निचोड़ है वो ये है कि ये अपनी नॉलेज अबाउट पाकिस्तान का तो कोई बहाना नहीं है, कोई एक्सक्यूज़ नहीं है। फ़िज़िकल फीचर सारे आपको पता होने चाहिए मुल्क के क्या हैं। ये चीज़ें टच अप ऑन योर ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स एंड यू वुड बी अमंग्स द टॉप स्कोरर्स इन द इंटरव्यू इंशाल्लाह।
जी, you got appropriate demeanor. Okay, guesswork at times, use of hands at times, eye contact was missing at times. Optional subjects are important, especially public ad. Especially public ad. On that, there will be questions, I'm sure, and you must be well prepared for that. And if you do that, I think you stand a very good chance of scoring very high. Thank you very much.
He said, generally, everything is good about you. Conversational ability is good. As sir said, you speak a bit loud and fast, have exercise control on that. And then, as sir said, public ad, even Punjabi, I was not impressed. Your answer was not that proper. It was just गैस वर्क तो नहीं मैं कहूँगी, मगर बस आपने जवाब दे दिया किसी तरह भी, तो उसको देख लें। और बाकी सर ने बता दिया, दोनों मेरे सीनियर्स ने, तो इंशाल्लाह यू हैव अ गुड चांस।